Are you constantly getting denied for credit and don't know why? Are you someone that doesn't have a credit score? Well, this is a video you don't want to miss, so stay tuned. What's going on, YouTube family? I'm KJ and we are back with another banger, giving you the sauce on credit. If you're new to the channel, I want to extend a warm welcome and say thank you. I'm so glad to have you here. You want to know how to build credit for the first time, then this video is for you. So let's get right into it. Alright, excuse the setup. I know my whiteboard, it's not looking very professional, but I just want to put that out there. You just got to get it how you live, right? Alright, so first things first, it's credit score. Your credit score ranges from 300 points being the lowest. Oh yeah, be sure to grab a pencil and paper or a pad and a pen or your iPad or your notes in your phone, something to take notes, because this is stuff you don't want to miss out on. Alright, but like I was saying, the lowest, your score ranges from 300, which is the lowest, to 850 points, which is the highest amount of points you can have. Now the range you have in between that is 550 points. That's how many points you have to work with in between the 300 and the 850. So, what makes up credit? Well, before I get into that, I want to let y'all know you want your FICO score to be on point, because that is the score most banks and lenders use to determine if you get denied or approved. So let's write that out. FICO score. They have another score called Vantage. That score is typically higher, but it's not really used by banks and lenders. Banks and lenders use FICO. So when you go for that mortgage, you go for that personal loan, you apply for these big bank credit cards, they looking at that FICO score. So you want to make sure that FICO score and that FICO report is intact. All right, but what makes up credit score or credit period? Number one is payment history. Excuse my handwriting, because I'm trying not to block it. I don't want to put my head all in front of it and whatnot. Payment history. This accounts for 35% of your credit. Pretty self-explanatory. How well do you pay your accounts? Do you pay on time? Are you late? 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late? That's payment history. How well do you pay your accounts? Number two is utilization. Utilization accounts for 30% of your credit. How much of your credit do you use? If you have a $10,000 card, are you using that whole $10,000? Are you using $5,000, which would be 50%? Are you using $3,000, which would be 30%? A good rule of thumb is, I would say, keep your utilization below 10%. Now, I know if you don't have really high limits or you don't have multiple cards, that could be very hard, because if you have a $200 card and you can only use 10%, that's only $20 you can use. Less than 10% is less than $20 you can use. So I know that's a very tight squeeze, but it's very rewarding if you can keep your utilization below 10% opposed to what they say keep it below 30, but I find it more rewarding when you keep it below 10. And if you want to go the extra mile, you keep it below 2 and 6%. But that's more for people that have a more established credit profile with higher limits, because you know, if you have $100,000 and you use only 6%, that's at least $6,000 of your credit that you didn't use. Good rule of thumb is to keep your utilization, you know, starting out, I would say less than 30%, but if you're able to, you know, maybe you only need, you know, make a small purchase. You have a $200 card, maybe you just going to get some gas. You go get $15, you know, $20 worth of gas. You can keep it at that 10% and then just pay that little $20 off before, you know, statement date. So 30%, 10%. That's a good rule of thumb. 10% is more rewarding. Number three is credit mix. Another word I, you know, say instead of mix is credit type. So you can write credit mix slash type. That's basically, you know, the types of accounts that you have. You have two types of accounts. You have installment accounts and you have revolving accounts. Now, when we talk about, and I'm sorry, this accounts for 15% of your credit. 15%. So when we talk about installment accounts, we're talking about your mortgage, auto loans, personal loans, student loans. When we talk about revolving, we're talking about credit cards, unsecured or secured, charge cards, store cards. That's what we mean when we talk credit mix. Number 4 is inquiries, or another word for inquiries is new accounts, but I'm gonna just write inquiries. But you can write new accounts if you like, and that accounts for 10%. How many new accounts do you have? How many inquiries are on your credit profile? Do you have 2 or 3, 5 or 10, 15 or 20 inquiries? Typically, you want to keep it below, I would say, 5 inquiries. It really depends on what your goal is. Like if you're the type that's trying to get a house, you want little to none inquiries. They don't want to see no new accounts. It really just depends on your financial / credit goal when it comes to inquiries. But even still, you don't want a lot of inquiries even if you don't have a goal at all. Me personally, I keep mine below 6, but it really just depends on what I'm doing at the time. Like sometimes you don't need no inquiries, and then if it's something that you are trying to accomplish, then you may have 4 or 5 inquiries hit your credit report back to back to back to back to back. So it really just depends on what your goal is, and your goal is important. That's why you gotta always have a goal in mind so you know how to approach it. Just a little fun fact about inquiries. Inquiries can take anywhere from, I would say, 2 to 6 points of your score. 2 is more so if you apply for something and you get approved, it dings you maybe 2-3 points. Now, if you get denied, you could be looking at anywhere from 4 to 6 points. Like you applied for this credit card, you got denied. Not only did you get dinged for them having to pull your credit report, but you got dinged for being denied. So you could lose anywhere from 5 to 6 points just off of that. So that's inquiries. Last but not least, 5th thing that makes up your credit is your credit length. Y'all write that down. Credit length, and that accounts for 10% as well. So when you talk about credit length, it's basically how long have you had credit. Self-explanatory. You get a card today, you hold it for 10 years. You had credit, your credit length would be 10 years. Credit length brings good perks. Even though it only accounts for 10%, it brings good perks. When you go get this mortgage, if they see that you didn't manage a card or 2-3 cards for the last 10 years, no late payment, they'll be willing to work with you. So that's why you gotta have credit length. It's necessary to have everything on the list. They want to see payment history, they want to see how you use it, they want to see the types of credit that you have, they want to see the inquiries, and they want to see the credit length. Everything comes together full circle to determine if you get approved or denied for a loan, a mortgage, personal loan, auto loan, some type of credit card. Everything comes together full circle. So now I want to talk about relationships with banks. Relationships. See how my handwriting get better when I kind of get in front of the board? All right, relationships with banks. Very important. Now, like I mentioned before, this does not mean going in the bank and having a conversation with every employee in the bank and building a relationship. No, building a relationship with the bank meaning, do you have a checking account with this bank? So I'm gonna put CA for checking account. Do you have a savings account? Or maybe even a business account with these banks? Now, you want to get in with big banks because this is where your higher limit cards or your lines of credit are going to come from. And also you want to get into it with credit unions. Now, I'm going to suggest 4 that I think you guys should really, dive into or build relationships with. Number 1 is Bank of America. Number 2 is Chase. Number 3 is Capital One. Number 4 is Navy Federal. Navy Federal is a credit union. The other 3 are big banks. So I'm gonna put Navy Fed. Bank of America, Chase, Capital One, Navy Federal. They're all big banks. And when you look into their credit cards, they have great credit cards. You know, Bank of America has the Cash Reward card. Chase has the Chase Freedom card. You know, the Business Inc. card. When you do get into the business credit, or if that's something you're looking to get into, you know, Capital One has like the Quicksilver, great card, easy to get approved for, high limit. Navy Federal is known as the house of high limits, so you get a credit card with them, you're gonna get great limits. So this is why I say Bank of America, Chase, Capital One, Navy Federal. And like I said, checking account, savings account, you take an extra step, get a business account. But this is for beginners, so this is assuming you have no credit. So before you get into the business side of things, if you haven't already, you want to make sure that personal stuff is intact before you dive into that business stuff. So for my beginners, you want to get that checking and that savings account. And when I say get a checking and savings account, you know, put $100 in the account. So, I mean, me personally, I have a checking and savings with Bank of America. I have a checking with Chase and Capital One, and a checking and savings with Navy Federal. I don't have a checking and savings everywhere. I have a business with Bank of America. I don't have a business with the other ones. But you just want to build that relationship. And how you build it, you don't have to do it all at one time. When I say get a checking and savings, that don't mean you go open up all these accounts right now. You can do it like I did it when they offer promos. Hey, Chase said, hey, we'll give you $300. You open a checking account with us and you deposit $500 worth of direct deposit. Oh, okay, I'm getting direct deposit anyway. Let me just go to work, change my account and routing number, get this check deposited here, and they're gonna just give me $500. Waiting for a promo to come up like I did. Same thing with Capital One. Hey, you get direct deposit of $750, we'll give you $500. All right, bet. So what I do, change the routing number, account number again. They, you know, have my direct deposit go to Capital One, boom, you know, and they have their, you know, stipulations that they have, you know, you got to do it within 90 days, and, you know, after you get it, if you close your account within 6 months, you're not going to be able to do it. But you don't want to close your account anyway because you want to tap in with them credit cards. So you need to leave those accounts open. Don't just do it for the promos. When it's time to apply for these cards, you can apply for these cards. A good way to gain credit length or credit history is be an authorized user to a trusted family member or friend. So let's just say Aunt Susie has a Capital One credit card that she's had for 10 years and it has a $10,000 limit. She doesn't really use it, you know, she gets gas here and there, you know, every month, you know, it's no more than $200 on her card, but she has a $10,000 limit. That's going to then report to your, you know, credit report because you're an authorized user on it. So it's going to look like you have a $10,000 card and it's you doing that. So now it's going to make the banks look at you as more responsible because that information is now reported on your credit report. That's just another great way for beginners to build credit. Now, this does not work when it comes to mortgages. Authorized user accounts are overlooked. So don't think, you know, you want to get this mortgage, you're trying to get this house, you're looking to get this 30-year mortgage, and you're going to just load up on authorized user accounts. Authorized user accounts are overlooked when it comes to getting a mortgage. Mortgages are very tricky. They have a much more serious underwriting process, and authorized user accounts are overlooked. So they pay them no mind. So don't think you can just build your account off of authorized users. You know, you just leverage authorized users to build your own credit report. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a couple of installment accounts that can be used. So let's write that down. Installment accounts. Now, what do we say installment accounts were? Those are basically like, you know, you get a loan, $1,000, and let's just say you have to pay $150 a month. That's an installment account. It's a set amount that you must pay monthly. For beginners, installment, I would say self. Make sure to write these down. Self and credit strong. These are secure loans. So when it comes to self, it's basically a secure loan, which means you give them money for them to give you money. You give them $2,000 for basically them to hand it back to you with the status of a loan, and then you just pay it back, if that makes sense. Credit strong is the same thing, and that's just gonna get you installment account history. Second is revolving accounts. So let's go over here. Revolving accounts. A revolving accounts that can be used is Open Sky Secure Credit Card. Open Sky, I've helped a few people, start building their credit profile with Open Sky. Another one is Tomorrow Card. I've helped a few people, do that as well. Now, I don't tell you to go get all of these secure cards at one time. I say, I give them the option, hey, check this one out, check this one out. I go over, the perks and, whatnot. They don't do any credit checks, any of that, because it's a secure card. It's to help people start building credit. So they don't do any credit checks. So you don't really have to worry about getting denied. I do believe they require a minimum $200 payment so you can, get that card. So like, you give them $200, your credit limit is gonna be $200. And the third one is City Secured. Now I would say this is my favorite one. City Secured Card. That's my favorite one. Why? Because City Secured, what ends up happening is you, let's say, give them $500 to put on this City Secured Card. Let's say anywhere from 3 to 6 months. If they don't reach out themselves or offer themselves, you can pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, I have this secure card with you all. I've been making on-time payments. Feel free to look at my account. I've never missed a payment. I always pay my balance in full. I pay my card off every month. And what's going to end up happening is they say, oh, okay, well, would you like to get an unsecured card with us? They then change the status of that same card from a secure card to an unsecured card. They're gonna send you that $500 back, and now they're gonna use their own $500 and put on the card and make it an unsecured card. So now you went from a secured card to an unsecured card without even applying for a new card. All right, y'all, now that we done covered relationships with banks and prior to this credit score and what makes it up, I wanna do a walkthrough with you all on how a credit report is supposed to look. So first things first, to get a copy of your credit report, you can use the link in the description down below. It's only $1. It gives you access to all 3 scores and all 3 credit reports in depth. But get a copy of your credit report and we can walk through our reports together. So first things first, you want to go to your summary section. Okay, so we have summary, you have total accounts, you have open accounts, closed accounts, delinquent, derogatory, collection, balances, payments, public records, inquiries. Now, of course, total accounts is all of the accounts you have reporting to your credit report. Open accounts are the accounts that are showing it's open on your report. Closed accounts obviously are the accounts that have closed. Typically, they're installment accounts, personal loans, if you paid off like student loans, anything like that. After it's been paid off, it'll eventually report as a closed account because it's not active anymore. No more payments are being made to that account. Now, the ones you want to look out for really is delinquent, derogatory, collection, and public records. Public records is where bankruptcies will be showing. Delinquent, derogatory is where your late payments and stuff like that will be showing. Collections, pretty self-explanatory, and inquiries. Now, let's just say you do have, if yours should look like this, all zeros across the board, unless you have public records, because child support is a public record. Just because you have child support on your credit report does not mean it's reporting negative. So public record, you may have a 1, may have a 2 if you have a bankruptcy. But if you have child support and it's under public records, you can, just disregard, looking further into that. You pay your child support on time. But delinquent, derogatory, collections, if you do have a number in any of those categories, whether it's a 1, a 2, a 3, you want to scroll down and find that account, that collection account, or that late payment account. You want to go find that account. For your other accounts that are positive, you'll see something like this, revolving card, like this is Barclay Bank. You look down here, okay payments, you see straight green. That means on time payments, never late, always on time. and it goes back, 2022, 21, all the way to 2020, or whenever you first got that card. So always look, at your accounts, especially the negative ones, because when you find discrepancies, that is how you're going to dispute them, which we would discuss in another video. But that is how you look at your credit report, and that is what your credit report should look like. Yes, I did skip over the personal information, but you do want to make sure your personal information is intact. Do you have one name, one address, current address and previous address? Is your date of birth, showing accurately? When it comes to the delinquents, derogatory collections, you want to make sure those are straight zeros, because that means you have no negative marks impacting your credit score. But if you do have negative marks, you're going to need to dispute those, which we will have a process in another video on how to do that. I hope you found this video informative as well as entertaining. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them down in the comment section down below. And if you need help building your credit profile or even repairing your credit, we have a link in the description, dpjcreditsolutions.com. Visit our website, schedule a free consultation, and we can try to help you reach your credit goals. Once again, I'm KJ, and as always, stay blessed, spread love. Until next time, take some action. Love.